Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, Shannon explains why Aaron Rodgers supporting Colin Kaepernick is a huge deal. Plus, Matt Leinart drops by to talk Heisman favorite and fellow USC Trojan, Sam Darnold. And is there a chance Ezekiel Elliott's suspension gets reduced? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Good morning, guys. Let's get started with Aaron Rodgers. He was interviewed by ESPN's Mina Kimes back in July and said Colin Kaepernick deserves to be on an NFL roster. Rodgers added that it would be, quote, ignorant to believe that the lack of interest has nothing to do with Kaepernick's activism. Rodgers said, I think he should be on a roster right now. I think because of his protests, he's not. I'm going to stand because that's the way I feel about the flag, but I'm also 100% supportive of my teammates or any fellow players who are choosing not to. They have a battle for racial equality. That's what they're trying to get a conversation started around. Shannon, how big of a deal is this?
Skip is a huge, huge deal. This is a Pantheon great quarterback, not currently playing, but a Pantheon great of all time that's currently playing. And he feels, now remember, Skip, this article was done in July sometime. And this is not after Charlottesville, so it's not 20/20 hindsight. He's sitting down because he knows this, Skip. Colin Kaepernick can say, I've done something that no other quarterback in the NFL has ever done. I've beaten Aaron Rodgers twice in a playoff game.
That's true.
Once in his building, once in my building. It also destroys the narrative that Colin Kaepernick is not on the team because he can't play. We know Colin Kaepernick can play. Now, he didn't say Colin Kaepernick should be starting. I believe, you and I both believe, that Colin Kaepernick is a good enough quarterback to start. He said, but he should be on a roster.
Yep.
Given what he's been able to accomplish in the National Football League, even if you just take last year's number, forget that he went to the Super Bowl, he went to another NFC title game. The thing that I love most is that he could have avoided the topic. He could have said, I want to say this, but don't put my name. And source, NFL great quarterback currently playing, thinks Colin Kaepernick should be on the roster.
Yep.
That doesn't give it the same boost, the same juice as Aaron Rodgers saying he should be on the roster. This earpiece is driving me crazy. Skip, I believe that he and Tom Brady probably are the two most qualified to probably speak on Colin Kaepernick and give what Colin Kaepernick is kneeling for, give it the attention that it deserves. Now, the only, Skip, I read what he had, this article, and we're going to talk about it later. I read it 3 times. Okay. The only part that I disagree with Aaron Rodgers, and he said, they have a battle for racial equality. We, America,
I'm with you,
has a problem with racial equality.
Yep.
We, America, has a problem with gender equality. That's the only thing. And I'm nitpicking, Skip, and I don't want to nitpick.
No, because I got it. That word also hit me, that choice of,
yes. The term that he. So, Skip, players know, like you said, now we go back and forth, and I josh it. Well, this one poll said Dak Prescott is the 77th best player. But the player said Dak is the 14th best player. And, you know, we go into it every year around the Hall of Fame voting and Hall of Fame time that players that are in the Hall of Fame should have a vote because the guys that are in that building knows what a Hall of Famer is.
Yep.
I would believe that Aaron Rodgers, he knows a good quarterback when he sees one. He believes that Colin Kaepernick's merit, his ability, should have him on a roster. And think about the word that he used, Skip, and I told you I am very, very hesitant to use this word. He said ignorant. He said it would be ignorant to think that his activism has nothing to do with the reasons he's not on the roster. That's Aaron Rodgers. He could have said nothing. He could have skirted the issue, or he could have said, don't use my name, just says NFL quarterback thinks Colin Kaepernick should be on the roster. This is huge. This is huge because it destroys the narrative that Colin Kaepernick can't play and that his protest plays no bearing on why he's not on the current roster. So kudos to Aaron Rodgers because he could have said nothing. Instead, he put his name behind it and said, I think Colin Kaepernick is good enough to be on the roster.
Once again, I'm going to disqualify myself because I'm coming at it from just the white perspective. But when this sort of hit the news wire, it was right at the end of our show yesterday, and we talked a little off camera about it, and you were excited.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, then and now, I can't get as excited as you are. I don't quite see it as a game-changing kind of quote. I hope it is. I hope it has impact. But I'm not sure I get why it's so huge for him to say. I know is he the first white quarterback to speak out quite like this or speak up for Colin Kaepernick? Yeah. I guess so, and he's obviously one of the 2 best quarterbacks in football. He's
the first one to speak positive.
Yes.
Now, we've had Joe Montana to speak negative.
True. So, this is just me. I needed to hear Aaron Rodgers say on opening Sunday, I'm going to kneel or sit for the anthem. That's a game changer.
Yes.
Okay? That's a big deal to me. That would send shockwaves through NFL front offices, I believe.
I believe those are 2 separate things, Skip. I think him saying that Colin Kaepernick is good enough to be on a roster, I think the other part of him kneeling, that would be the cause in which Colin Kaepernick kneeled for. So I believe those are 2 separate things. And like he says, I respect the flag, but I also understand. Like I said, we're going to talk about it later. He's talked to Martellus Bennett. He's talked to Randall Cobb. He was a groomsman in Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
He was in his wedding. He's talked to guys that goes through this issue, and he said it. I've never had to face this. So I'm trying to understand what they have to go through on a daily basis.
I don't think there's any NFL quarterback more socially conscious than this man is. This is a deep thinker. Again, we're going to get way deep into this a little later in the show.
A lot deeper than I think you and I thought.
I learned a lot from him, and I gained much respect from reading that article for Aaron off the field, not on the field, but off the field.
Yes.
This is a complex man who thinks deeply about his religion and his place in the world. Okay, well, that's very different from all the all-time great quarterbacks with whom he's now competing for legacy.
Correct.
Not many deep thinkers on that list like this.
No.
Okay, so I'm with you on that. So it does have some impact, but it's more like image is everything. So you need to see the image of Aaron saying, "I feel so strongly about this. I'm going to sit for the opening day's national anthem." That's powerful.
Right.
Okay, but I get it. So I hope you're right about this. But to your point, he made the ignorant comment to the reporter first in July, and then he thought about it as they continued to do their magazine-length interviews, and she wrote that a couple of weeks later he came back with the rest of the quote that he had thought carefully through.
Right.
But again, pre-Charlottesville, pre-LaShawn McCoy's anti-Kaepernick statements, pre-Jim Brown's I don't desecrate the flag statements, pre-George Foreman spoke out against all the protesters. You know, we've had all kinds of sort of negative backlash, even within the black community.
Correct.
So now it's not like Aaron said, I'm going to fight back. I'm going to respond to all that. He wasn't responding to anything. He was just making his own statement.
Yes.
Okay, so I think because we're getting to D-Day here, this is what I want to deal with right now. Okay. I want your gut feeling on this. I don't want to put you on a spot, but I know you've thought about this. Where are we going with all this? What is the end game for Colin Kaepernick? What is the goal here? What's the best outcome that could happen for Colin and for, I'm going to say it one more time, he has already gone down in history as the face of and the voice of a crucial movement in this country's continued development along racial lines.
Correct.
To fight, to open, I think he's opened a bunch of eyes and a bunch of ears in the white community to racial inequality. So I think he's had dramatic positive impact so far, but where does it go from here for him? Right. What do you want to see happen from here?
You talking about on the field or
I don't know, because I can make the case that he would be better served not getting a job, going down as a martyr, if you will, as the face and voice of a movement, that he becomes the crusader that he's been so far. Maybe it's better that he's not on a roster, because what's the alternative? Do you want to see him be the third-string quarterback or the second-string quarterback, wherever that might be, holding a clipboard, standing on the sidelines, saying, nope, I'm going to stand for the anthem this year? Is that better? Would that help?
Skip, for me, and a lot of people have said early on that if there's an injury, Colin Kaepernick will get a call. Well, we saw 2 significant injuries, and Colin Kaepernick I mean, the Ravens kind of tossed it around, but the likelihood they were going to sign him, considering that what their owner Steve Bisciotti said.
Yeah.
And then we saw a situation in Miami. Okay, Adam Gase had familiarity with Jay Cutler. He called him down from our booth. Skip, but when you look at Buffalo.
And then we had Seattle, where it looked like they had a pretty glaring need, potentially, for a backup.
And we're seeing teams sign backup guys that haven't played in the league in 5-6 years, guys that hadn't thrown a pass ever in the NFL. So at this point in time, Skip, it's hard for me to believe that he's going to be on the roster. Because we had all offseason, and everybody said, when an injury happens in training camp, Colin Kaepernick's going to get a call. And with the exception of Seattle, they're the only ones that brought him in. And I don't know how much X's and O's they actually talked about. So Skip is getting that, as you said, D-Day. It's hard for me to believe at this juncture that someone's going to sign him because you had an opportunity. You want somebody that's, let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip, you bring him in and your quarterback gets nicked. He's the second quarterback. Well, he's only been there a week. How much of the offense can you run? And see, this notion where you have to change your offense. So let me ask you a question, Skip. Do you actually think Scott Linehan called the exact same plays for Dak Prescott as he did Tony Romo?
He did not.
So in other words,
because Tony Romo's never run a read option in his life.
So in other words, they tailored the offense
they had
to fit what Dak Prescott did really well.
Clearly they did.
Same thing.
They had about 2 weeks to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But they tailored to what he can do well. Okay, what do you like here, Dak? What do you like? And so that's what you do.
I mean, obviously, Dak's a little more of a pocket passer than Colin is, but go ahead.
But they make it seem like you got to run the wishbone with this young man.
No.
He threw the ball from the pocket, Skip. He threw for over 300 yards in a Super Bowl game. Doesn't that count for something?
Yep.
I mean, if he couldn't throw from the pocket, he threw for over 300 yards in a Super Bowl game.
For a bad team last year, he had 16 touchdown passes to 4 interceptions. That's pretty good.
Skip,
I gotta tell you.
When he went on this path, I haven't talked to Colin in great detail. I don't think martyrdom is what he was thinking of.
Martyrdom, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he was thinking.
I'm sure he wasn't.
I think he's like, this is not right. We live in America. We live in a great country. And we should all be treated equally. But what I'm seeing, it doesn't seem right to me. Now, he could have kept his mouth shut, make his $16 million, and guess what? When the 49ers, they flip over the staff, they're going to go in a different direction, Colin Kaepernick would have been on the team. But he said, what I'm seeing, is it right?
Yep.
I can't live with myself. I can't sleep at night if I don't say at least something. And it got him here.
Okay, so this is what I believe from what I know. If Colin had agreed to meet with Jim Brown, and I know you've had issues with Jim. You were hard on him the other day, and you deserve to be. I get it. I have no issue with that.
Okay.
But if he had sat with Jim Brown or sat with the people from the Fritz Pollard Alliance, especially John Wooten, I believe that right now, Colin Kaepernick would be the backup quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Would you like that? Deshaun Kaiser obviously is going to be the starter.
Right.
I believe Colin would be the backup right now, but he would have had to have sat with those people and said, okay, this is where I am in my life, my career, my thinking, and I still think he felt like, why would I have to do that when no other quarterback getting a backup job would have to submit to that?
Right.
That it would come across as a form of, quote unquote, begging for a job. And I get it from his point, but they just wanted to hear from the young man where he is. Where's his head right now? Where's his emotions? What's going on? But my question to you is, to what end is that? To be the backup quarterback for a team that is in all-out rebuild mode now? They're just tearing it down, man. Joe Hayden's gone. Cam Irving, he's out. They've loaded up. Do you see the draft picks that Cleveland has in the next draft?
They can have
2 1s, 3 2s, then multiple 4, 5, and 6.
2 4s, yeah. They got about 12. They have about 12 draft picks.
So they are looking long term.
Right.
Do you want Colin subjected to that? Is that where he should be? I don't know. Does he deserve better than that? So I'm just throwing it out. What's the end game? What's the best result for him?
Deserve I think is a loaded word. I don't know if Colin Kaepernick deserves. I think he's earned a right to be on a roster, given his history, his pedigree, and what he's been able to accomplish.
No doubt.
Even if you just take 2016 in a vacuum in and of itself. For me, who's to say that if he goes in as a backup at the start of camp, Brock Osweiler gets the start, who's to say that Deshaun Kaiser can pass him? He might have been. Hell, he was on the rebuilding team last year.
He was.
So he's been through this situation before. Skip, I don't know. I just know his passion is football. He has two passions. He has passion for football and this racial inequality and the brutalization of unarmed black men and women, people of color, by the hands of the police. Those are his two passions. I believe you can do things. They make it seem like, Skip, he's going to be trying to do it while they're calling a play, like he's going to be taking a knee, or he's trying to lead a protest while the game is going on.
They just fear he's going to be torn in too many different directions, that he's going to be asked to be the leader of a movement, which is, it could be a full-time job. That's all they're fearful of. And then there was the Monday Morning Quarterback piece that came out today. I think you looked at it.
Yep.
So it's a lot of anonymous quotes from NFL execs saying, it's not blackballed. He just doesn't have the skill set to be a backup quarterback.
And that, you know what I heard? You know what I heard? What I heard that, Skip? I heard all those same big execs say the same thing about cigarettes. Cigarettes aren't dangerous. Nicotine isn't addictive. Every last one of them. Yep. They even got before Congress and said it. But when the rubber met the road and they had to give an account, all of them, yes.
They all lost.
Exactly. So the thing is, Skip.
And by the way, their point was RG3 in the same boat, but nobody's talking about RG3 that and by the way, RG3 did have 1 year better than any that Collins had, because that was a Pro Bowl year, his rookie year.
He went to the Pro Bowl, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yep. The difference is he got hurt.
Right.
And he never bounced back from getting hurt.
Right.
He lost his legs, and then he lost his confidence. And Robert can throw it okay. He's pretty good from the pocket. He was at Baylor, I can tell you that.
But he was never the same after that injury. Colin Kaepernick took a team back to the NFC title game, Skip.
He did. So there's some intangibles there that you have to love. But in Robert's case, it looks like Robert's, is he out? Is this it? Is it over?
The thing is, Skip, if you like Colin Kaepernick, if you like what he can bring to a team, you're like, you know what, this guy has a skill set. We can do some things. Is he Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady from the pocket? No. But he can throw from the pocket, and he still has legs. But if you don't, you'll find every excuse imaginable to say why he's not on the team or why he's not on the team. And even one general manager said, I just don't like the guy. Skippy said he don't like him. So once you don't like a guy, it doesn't matter. He can throw. He can throw from the pocket.
Yep.
But once you're out, you're out. So there's no coming back to the middle for that general manager or head coach or whomever said that. But, Skip, I think Aaron Rodgers saying what he said, because he didn't have to say it.
No.
He could have done like a lot of guys, pretend like the situation isn't happening. But for him to say this in July and then to come back and says, not try and clean it up, says, I still...
No, he didn't clean it. He expounded.
Yes. Skip, I think this is huge. I think it's huge for Kaepernick. Now, he says he wants to learn more, talking to Martellus Bennett, who's great on social issues, Randall Cobb, who's from Tennessee, went to Kentucky. He's learning more. I think he will be more outspoken, because he says the one thing that's hindering a lot of NFL players from being socially active is they don't have guaranteed contracts. He said, I'm envious of the NBA players. And I don't think it's because they have guaranteed money. He's like, they're able to speak on issues without repercussions.
True. Well, I think he is too. I think he's big enough that he can. Well, he just did.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it was a very impressive piece, and he is right. It is ignorant to believe that he's not on a roster, not because of his skills. And those quotes in the Albert Breer piece are pretty obvious. I mean, there's quarterbacks in the NFL you feel comfortable. They've never been to a Super Bowl. They've never been to an NFC Championship game. You don't have to cater any of your offense to them.
So Tyrod Taylor is running the exact same offense that Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers. He's running that same type of offense. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, it's the same thing that we've been saying this whole time. Not every team actually cares about winning.
No.
That's what it is.
Blake Bortles.
No mercy.
Hey guys, before we move on, I wanted to tell you that the Undisputed podcast is brought to you by Barbasol. The biggest thing to happen to Barbasol since shaving cream is also the only thing to happen to Barbasol since shaving cream. Introducing new Barbasol Razors. The brand America trusts for a close, comfortable shave now has premium disposable razors. Barbasol's close shave technology on every razor means you get an advanced pivoting head and ultra-thin open flow blades. The Ultra 6 Plus razor also features a 7th blade specifically designed to refine and style tricky areas like under the nose, sideburns, and beard. Visit Barbasol.com and get a $2 savings coupon and see for yourself why Barbasol Razors are the #1 new disposable razors out there. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
No mercy.
ESPN's Adam Schefter reported this morning that there is, quote, a real chance that Ezekiel Elliott's 6-game suspension will be reduced. Day 3 of Zeke's appeal hearing is expected to take place today in New York. Greg Jennings is still with us, but Shannon, what's your reaction?
By the way, may I, before you start, say, you said the other day you could see it being reduced, and I said, man, I would be pleasantly shocked over that, but go ahead.
You're right, Skip, because my sources told me that there were going to be some sworn testimony and there were going to be some witnesses that would come forward, and it could possibly be reduced. Now, that doesn't mean that Jerry still won't take his action, but I just felt
take it to court.
Take it to court. Mm-hmm. But I just felt from what I was hearing and having some of the things, the inconsistencies in her statement, I've always felt that this was probably going to happen. It would be somewhere between 2 and 4 games. And to your point, Joy, it's gonna look really bad.
This would be infuriating if they reduce it.
Because it's gonna be like either he did or he didn't. Because if he didn't, it should be 0, and if he did, it should be 6. So why are we reducing it? Because if the inconsistencies were there at the start, you should have never brought it forward. And if you don't believe her, if you believed her then, you should believe her now.
Or just be transparent about what you're actually suspending him for. Absolutely. If you're suspending him for the situation at St. Patrick's Day or everything else, then say that. Don't put it on domestic violence.
Right, and the personal conduct. But I've always felt because of her inconsistencies, and the NFL got very upset because they say they were trying to victim shame the victim, and that's not what they were doing. All they pointed to was inconsistencies in her testimony. They said nothing about her past. They said nothing about what her occupation was. All they said, there were times and occasions she lied. And the NFL didn't like that because eventually, you know one thing, it's going to get out. This testimony is going to get out, and people will get an opportunity to read it for themselves. And people are going to look at this and like, how could they come to this conclusion given this set of said circumstances? How and why? Because I get it, the NFL, and because Jerry said it, like this leads to a bigger issue that's going on in America. And you're kind of piggybacking Zeke to try to help solve a problem because the NFL is looked at as a situation where people look towards the NFL. These guys, they're at the forefront of this. And Jerry was like, nah, this is not the case that I really want tied to us. Like, okay, if you want us to lead, I got no problem with that. But this is not the young man you should be riding his back with this kind of issue. So I've always felt this, Skip. I still believe it. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but I believe in my heart of hearts, that this will be a 2 to 4 game suspension, Skip. It will not be the full 6. It will not go to 0, but it will fall in between 2 and 4. That's what I'm going with.
What's your gut feeling?
My gut feeling is, number one, I said it when we first talked about it, and I recall my brother over here saying there's no way it can be reduced. And now I look at it and Joy, I'm with you. I really believe that this has, if it's either he did it when we're talking about the domestic issues, or he didn't. So it's the 6 that you're talking about, or 0. But I think this has everything else to do with the St. Patrick's Day, the bar issue, all the other issues that have come up to where the league feels like we have to do something. But just say that. And again, like Adam Schefter said in his reports, I could be dead wrong. I could be way off base here.
He concluded that. I might be.
I believe it.
I might be off base, but I just don't think that when we don't have enough fact and they're not willing to release what they're hearing, that lets me know that there's not concrete enough evidence to say 6 games, put the gavel down, that's it.
By the way, just a quick point of order. Adam Schefter is a friend of mine, and he is rarely off base. Just for he can really report.
Very true.
Okay, now back to what I said from the start. I thought that this was mostly about all of Zeke's misconduct and misbehavior, all rolled into one, all of his issues that he's facing right now off the field. But once you put it under one label and only one label of domestic violence, I said from the start, oh, so you're going to reduce it from 6 to 5 because you say, oh, well, he only beat her 5 days. He didn't beat her 6 days. Really? You can't say that. After all the missteps of the NFL when it comes to domestic violence, there will be outrage and backlash over any reduction of this, even though you can make a case that it should be reduced, but it has to be reduced to nothing, right?
Right.
To 0. Either it happened or it didn't happen. If it happened a little bit, it's 6 games.
Right.
You can't, it's one way or the other, all or none. And how are they going to sell this if they reduce it? Especially if they reduce to 2 games. And again, I also made the point that I think they are starting to fear that the most powerful owner in the NFL, Jerry Jones, now in the Hall of Fame, has the deepest pockets in the NFL only because he has the most valuable team in the world, wants to go to battle in court. And they don't want that kind of battle because it's just, it's not good for business.
Right.
It's another Deflategate. And this is America's team. This is the biggest draw in the sport. And by the way, I think it's the 5th game of the year. I'll just bring it right back home here to Fox. It's going to be on Fox. And it's going to be, we just talked about Aaron Rodgers, but it's going to be Green Bay at Jerry World. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to this network.
Right.
And if there's no Zeke, it hurts a little bit. I don't know if it'd take much off the rating, but maybe take a little bit off.
Yeah, but Jerry believes that he has a Super Bowl caliber team this year.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anything to upset that apple cart.
No. So if he has to go to quote-unquote war and go to court over this to get an injunction so that Ezekiel can play immediately and then see what happens down the road, that's what the NFL doesn't want. So I could see they'd say, gee, if we reduce it, it would show a judge that at least we were a little lenient here. But you can't be lenient on domestic violence.
Right.
Right?
You know, my grandmother told me one time she was beating me. She said, I'm not beating you for what you did today. I'm beating you for all the other times I should have and didn't. We're not suspending you for this. But you pull the lady's top down, and you don't think we know about this and this, but we do.
You got this
so the times we should have, we didn't. So we kind of, we were backlogged, but we're gonna get you now. We're just gonna lump this under personal conduct. But Skip, you can't do that. You can't do that. Not with Skip. The lady that commissioner hired, Lisa Frio, she wouldn't put her name. She says, I can't. Say the credibility and inconsistencies in her story. She said, I can't sign off on this.
Sign off.
If she can't, Skip, you got to let it go.
Absolutely.
You hired her for that very reason. She's supposed to be your eyes and ears. She's supposed to be the one person that, when it comes to that issue, you step aside. Whatever you recommend, Ms. Frio, we'll go with.
Okay.
Because this is your expertise.
But despite what she reportedly said to Commissioner Goodell, he said 6 games.
Yes.
And once he digs in on 6, you cannot. This would be even worse than the Ray Rice lack of punishment. It would.
It would. And what I go back to is there was something that Jerry Jones knew to when he got in front of those cameras and said, there is nothing there.
He used the word nothing.
He said there is not. There is now this. If this gets reduced, it's confirming what Jerry said he did not see. And it's to your point, like I got those whoopings too.
Yeah.
For what I did before. And
she didn't get
absolutely.
You. But Skip, if you're gonna hire people and you're gonna defer to their judgment because you give them great deference because this is their expertise. If you're not gonna go by their recommendations, why are you paying them $150,000, $200,000 a year? He said, I'm hiring her because this is her expertise.
But then he appointed a 4-person committee to handle to make a quick judgment on the evidence. But she presided over this, and so you're cutting her out. You're going to blame them. You're going to sort of put it all on them.
Remember, the commissioner said the reason why he won't he won't pass off league matters to a non-league guy because they don't know. He said, why would I pass off punishment as far as conduct detrimental to the NFL to a person that's not a league person that doesn't understand how the NFL operates? Well, this lady knows how these things operate. You hired her for that very reason.
To be
and now you take it upon yourself. She said, I can't sign up on it.
She was the lead prosecutor in Manhattan's sex crimes division.
Yes!
I think she knows what she's doing.
If this is reduced, it will be the biggest disaster of handlings of these kind of situations.
I agree.
It's beyond Deflategate, because Deflategate had a bad reflection on the league, and it dragged out and involved Tom Brady and the Patriots, but it didn't involve any victims.
Nope.
If this is reduced to anything other than zero, and if it is reduced to zero, everyone on that panel should be relieved of their duties.
I'd say.
This is a disaster.
Yeah.
He either did it or he didn't do it. You can't pin domestic violence on a situation like this, put that reputation on Zeke, discredit the victim. Do you know how hard it is for victims to be believed?
Yeah.
And you go out there and handle it like this? If this happens, it's the ultimate embarrassment.
Conversely, if you are wrongly accused of domestic violence,
of course.
taint of
Of
that.
course, but there are repercussions to this. If he's wrongfully accused and this is what happened, they take a step back. It's hard for women to be believed that this happened, and then you pin this on Zeke and it didn't happen.
If I'm listening to Friel, Skip, I would have quit. If I say I can't sign off on this, and this is what I've done for 10, 15, 20 years, and you take it upon yourself, and this is not your expertise, and you wouldn't ask Lisa Friel to go out and negotiate contracts with
We've said it so many times. If the NFL said they were going to suspend him for the situation in St. Patrick's Day, 2 games,
no problem.
No one would have argued with it.
No.
But you pin it on domestic violence, you're hurting way more than Zeke and the Cowboys. It would be a disaster.
No mercy.
USC quarterback Sam Darnold begins his season Saturday against Western Michigan. Darnold opens the season as the clear Heisman favorite. He threw 31 touchdowns with just 9 interceptions as a redshirt freshman last year. We're joined now by FS1 college football analyst and USC Heisman winner Matt Leinart.
What's up, guys?
Welcome back.
It must be college football season.
I'd say it's been too long.
Right, yeah. It's awesome
Good to have
be
him
on.
back.
Yeah.
So you've spent some time with Darnold.
I have.
How good can he be?
He's special. I think he's a rare talent. And if you talk about college football, and if you were to build a college football quarterback right now, it's Sam Darnold. And the arm strength from the pocket, he can make all the throws. The arm strength outside the pocket. I think one of the things I love about him most is the knack for not taking sacks. He's like Big Ben Roethlisberger, but more mobile, I think more athletic. He just never goes down. He always makes a play, and I think that's what makes him special. We saw that in the Rose Bowl. But the quality that he has, we all know this, Shannon, you know this, he's got that special quality that you can't coach. And I liken it a little bit to Deshaun Watson a year ago. Now, every week, even on this show, every week, everyone criticizes Deshaun Watson, the interceptions a year ago, and he didn't show up all the time. But I'll tell you what, in big moments, in big games, who was a quarterback you wanted? You wanted Deshaun Watson. We saw that. We saw that in the championship game. We saw that from Darnold in the Rose Bowl against Penn State. So he just has that rare ability that when the game's on the line, that's your guy. And the scary thing, guys, is he's only started 10 games in his career. He's only going to get better. So I think the sky is the limit for this kid. As you mentioned, I sat down with him earlier this summer. He's humble. He's a hard worker. We just joked, Orange County. He's very laid back, but he's very driven and he's very motivated. And
by the way,
that's what makes him special.
Santa Ana, so you're not too far away from where
he's more of a beach bum than I am.
San
And I didn't grow up.
Clemente.
I grew up in Santa Ana, a little more inland, but he's special. He's special. He's only going to get better.
So you know what stunned me as I read the background of this young man? In his junior and senior high school years, San Clemente, he was the MVP of his league in basketball, the South Coast League. I don't know how good it, but I'm assuming there's some talent there, right? So he's the MVP in basketball both years, and early in his high school football career, he played wideout and linebacker. And when he got recruited by USC, and by the way, his senior year of high school, he rushed for 800 yards and was considered a dual threat quarterback. Really? Wow. I didn't get that. I mean, I wasn't sure of that last year. When he got to SC and he redshirted his first year, The defensive coordinator asked him if he were interested in playing linebacker for the Trojans, who have a long history of pretty good linebackers, right? Okay, so that's the athlete that you're dealing with, the mentality that you're dealing with, all rolled into a quarterback who has, I'm not sure he has like a cannon arm, but he's got a big arm.
He's got a big arm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of an unorthodox delivery.
Yep.
And when I talked to him this summer, it was really improving just mechanics, because he never, the thing I love about him is he never really worked with a quarterback guru. I worked with a coach when I was 14 or 15. He just, it's almost like he just picked up a football. He just wanted to play ball, and he was never properly taught, which makes it scary because there's so much more room. He's raw, I think. He's still really raw. But he just got that quality, man. And it's just something you can't coach and you can't teach. And I think at the next level, I think he'll be special. And I'm gonna say this right now, and I didn't get an answer from him, but I would not be surprised if he comes back after this season.
Really?
I really would not. Now, he may win a Heisman, he may win a championship, and he may leave. And I would probably, if he asked my advice, I'd probably tell him to go after that. But I'm just telling you, just from being around him, he loves SC. He loves what they have there. They're special. They're starting to build it back, obviously. So I would not be shocked, again, if he decided at the end of the year to come back for another year.
How concerned are you about expectations? I think last year, coming as a redshirt freshman, no one saw this. They remember his last game.
Right.
453, 5 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, MVP of the Rose Bowl, and he win. Are you concerned about expectations?
I'm not concerned about expectations. This kid, after the Utah game, we had met in spring, all right? We met in spring, Max Brown and him, and both of them, I was talking to them, giving them both advice. I said, if you ever need anything, call me or reach out. He sent me a text. I hadn't talked to him all season long. He sent me a text after the game. And this is to your point, Shannon. He sent me a text after the game, and I could show you guys the text after this. It was, I'm sick and tired of bleep of losing. I want to be great for this team. What do I need to do to get the locker room? What do I need to do to gain their respect? What do I need to do to get us back on the championship level? And I looked at that, I was like, holy crap. This is a 18-year-old kid who just lost his first start at Utah, tough game. So to your point, he's got it, man. Like, he's just got it. And the expectations are real. I remember going out there, and obviously I'm still close with all the SIDs and all the media guys, and they're just like, it's a lot like it was when I was there in Reggie Bush, where it's just every day is an interview request, and he's just handled it perfectly. He's never too high, he's never too low. He's just even keel. And look, there's pressure. I think there's expectation. My biggest concern for USC as a team is how do they handle the expectation? Now all of a sudden they're supposed to be the college football playoff. How do they handle that? But I think he'll handle it.
I've always thought that in all of this country, there's more spotlight and focus on a star quarterback at SC because it's in, quote unquote, Hollywood.
Right.
And because the USC Trojans in Los Angeles, where we are now, are treated like a quote unquote pro team. And again, for years there wasn't a pro team. Now there are two. But for years, it's like when you're there, man, you're a big deal in a huge city with Hollywood right in the middle of it. And to your question, it's hard because if you're vulnerable at all, it will get you.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely. I mean, I lived it, and he comes from a great family. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's a great leader. He's very humble, but he's very quiet. I mean, honestly, I joke about it, but he's a really Orange County, SoCal, likes the beach, likes to surf kid, and he just happens to be really good in football, and he loves football. And the advice I'd give him, and with social media now, and just, I mean, we break down everything as a society and media. It just keep the blinders on, go forward, and you have one job. And that's his job, is to lead this team to a championship, to be as best as he can be, and at some point prepare yourself for the NFL. And I think he's doing all the right things. Clay Helton's great for him. Clay Helton's all football. The players rally around this kid. So I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to do well. And I keep saying, but he's a really good kid. He's got his head on right.
There's not too much praise. Played 13 games, 10 starts. Is this a little bit too much too early?
Part of me says yes, just because it's only 10 starts. I mean, he still has a lot of room to improve. But yeah, he's not asking for the praise. If anything, he'd rather not talk about it and just focus on being better. But I do think there's a lot of areas to work on. I still believe, I think he's the best player in college football this year. He's the best quarterback. But the mechanics, protecting the football at times last year, he runs a little carelessly with the football. And just your overall experience as a quarterback, just another year on your belt, seeing defenses. Now defenses are going to maybe understand how to attack them a little differently, or what do they need to do to go at them. Especially with an offensive line that's going to be good, but they're somewhat inexperienced. They lose both tackles. So the praise is real. I think it's deserved, because just look at what he did, and then the Rose Bowl was sensational. But he still has to go out there and prove himself again.
So let's say he does, and let's say he is the clear-cut #1 overall pick. What would you recommend that he do? Would you want to know whether it could be the Jets picking first, it could be the Cleveland Browns? I don't know. Would that matter? Would that
49ers?
It could be the 49ers.
Look, I mean, I kind of went through the same situation.
You did?
I think if I'm advising him and he's the clear-cut #1, which there's still no guarantees, but he's the clear-cut #1, go. You got to go. Go to the NFL. You played 2 years. You prove yourself. We don't know how this, Cleveland, Deshaun Kaiser started. I like Deshaun Kaiser. Yep. Talented, you never know. The Jets are in disarray. Obviously, Brian Hoyer and the 49ers. Brian Hoyer is a good stopgap. He's a good player. But I'd like Sam maybe in that offense. Could be pretty good.
Yeah.
But I would say go. I'm just telling you, I would not be shocked if he stayed, no matter who's picking #1.
Top five, you got to go.
I say top five,
because there's nowhere to go but down from there.
Exactly.
We've seen so many guys, Skip. If you go now, you're top. And then you come back.
Talk about injuries too.
Yeah. You're gonna risk your career.
I'm gone. Top 5. Bye, SC. I'll come back and visit.
Wait a second. You went in the 7th round.
If I could have left early, hell, if I went the 20th round, if I'd have left early.
I think things worked out all right for you, man.
No mercy. The Isaiah Thomas-Kyrie Irving blockbuster trade is finally complete after concerns over Isaiah's hip injury. The Celtics agreed to send the Cavs a 2020 second-round draft pick as compensation to complete the trade. Shannon, who won this round of the standoff between the Cavs and Celtics?
The Cavs won for the simple fact they got something after the trade was originally agreed to. If me and you sign a contract, Skip, and anything I get after the fact that you've already signed on the dotted line, Skip, even if I just get gym clips, I got something that you didn't originally agree to. So guess what?
Guess what? You got gym clips.
Well, give me that coffee mug. I need to get
what
that.
for?
Because I bet you yesterday they were going to get.
I thought you said a first.
Let me get that
Dude,
right
he
there.
said a first.
No, let me get that right there. So that means you can't get a new one.
You're going to take that?
Yeah, you can't get a new one for at least a week.
So now you have 2 empty cups?
I got 2 empty cups, yep.
So
but this one belongs to Skip.
It's shameful that you're claiming victory over a 2020 second-round pick.
2020. I
Seriously?
like 2020. Skip, guess who went in the second round? One Isaiah Thomas. Second team All-NBA.
How often does that happen, Shannon Sharpe?
There's another guy that went in the the defensive player of the year. Draymond.
Oh, God. How often
goodness.
does that happen?
Skip.
Hey, Manu Ginobili was the last pick in the draft, man. How often does that happen?
Well, how often,
Not very.
Well, how often did the eclipse happen from last week?
That's about the odds of this.
When people run out,
the same.
when people was taking off work
Right.
and running outside to see the sun.
So in 2020,
Well,
when they
not
make
sun.
that pick in the middle of the second round, I'm going to put my shades on so I
you
can look
should.
up and see it. I'll get blinded by that pick.
And now,
Yep.
guess what's going to happen because we got this pick, and plus we still got Jay Crowder, who's a nice 3-and-D guy. Hey, he can shoot the corner three. He can play defense.
He's a life changer.
No, Skip.
No.
He's on a great contract. He can play defense. He can, average about 13 points a game. We take that. But you know what this means now, Skip.
No, I don't.
Talk to my homeboy, Bron. Bron said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay in the East now. I'm going to make it my business to make sure Kyrie not going to the finals.
Really?
Oh.
So you're breaking news?
Yeah, Bron going to stay up in the East.
So he's going to recommit maybe today? Is
Nope.
he going to announce
Nope.
today he's signed a long-term?
That's our intentions. Dan Gilbert might tick us off again.
Okay.
And we
You
might
gotta keep
have
your
to dip.
options open.
Yeah, because we can never commit to Dan Gilbert because you never know what he going to do.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't know LeBron was from Georgia. Is that what?
hello, Skip. Why you worry about what that man
I don't
from?
know. I'm just asking. I don't know. I'm confused.
You my homeboy too, but you know, me and Bron a little closer to me.
You're
and you
a
right
little
now.
closer because you got LeBron on speed dial.
Yeah,
I mean, talk every night.
And the thing
Jammies,
is, and that's one thing about LeBron. When I call him, he'll answer the phone. You know what? I've never ever called this man right here.
That's not true.
And he answered
That
the
is
phone.
not true.
I'm on the treadmill. I hit you right back. I'm headed out the door. I hit you right back. Well, if you had time to text that to me, did you have time to pick up the call?
I'm busy.
Just gonna let you know where you
There have
stand.
been 2 or 3 times you call me. I see Shannon pop up. I say, uh-oh, I better take this. It must be trouble, right?
But, Skip, I think anything that they got, even though it's a second-round pick and it's 3 years away, Skip, the mere fact that they got something when the trade was for Isaiah, an unprotected first-round pick from the Brooklyn Nets, and Jay Crowder, the mere fact that they got a second-round pick, although it's 3 years away, the Cavs won this trade. The Cavs won this round, this game of chicken. They won the original round of chicken. Considering, Skip, Kyrie had them over the barrel. Kyrie had them over the bridge, hanging by their feet, and he was about to drop them.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, LeBron flipped the script.
Yep.
Now he had Kyrie over the bridge, about to drop him.
Okay. So you're telling me that the Cavs actually got better for next year without Kyrie?
Are they a better team?
No.
The results are going to be the same. They're going to be Eastern Conference champions.
Oh, okay. But they're not better than they were last year.
At
Correct?
this current time, we have let it play out.
Let it play out.
Let it play out.
Okay, so clearly in my very objective view from across the table, because I'm not close to LeBron James, the Boston Celtics won this round just the way they won the overall trade. You know, this was like adding insult to Isaiah Thomas's hip injury, because this was even more embarrassing than if Boston had just said, we give you nothing. Let me get this straight now. Boston still has 5 first-round picks, up to 5, over the next 2 years, up to 5 over 2 years. And they gave up none of them to complete the Kyrie trade. They gave up a 2020 mid-second, that's what it'll be. It'll be a mid-second round pick. I mean, that's humiliation. That's rubbing your nose in it for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Do they? I want to know. Will they still be selecting players in 2020 in the second round?
Yeah, they will.
Okay.
But this is like tossing Cleveland the smallest little chicken bone, a little bare bone, no meat on that bone.
Oh, yeah.
Now
marrow.
My little dog Hazel, she would love that little chicken bone. She would love it. I'd be afraid for her to be chewing on it. She might swallow it and get stuck. But the point is, I don't think Cleveland's going to love a mid-second round pick in 2020 who has, I don't know, I'm going to be nice about this. That pick will have a 50-50 chance of making a team, and if you suggest LeBron's going to be on that team, as LeBron heads into his 18th NBA season with a mid-second round pick. And you're gloating about that? You're taking my mug because of that pick?
Yep.
You should give me both mugs back because you got embarrassed over this, you and your Cavaliers.
No, Skip, because the fact of the matter is that gems can be found in the second round. You know, like late round picks, you know, Tom Brady.
Wait, Jim's like Jim Smith or Jim Jones or who?
No. Tom Brady was a late round draft pick. O'Shea Sharpe.
It doesn't work that way.
O'Shea Sharpe was a second.
This is not the NFL we're talking about.
Oh, my bad. But Skip, the mere fact, Skip, if you agree to a contract, and my girl Judge Judy,
Yep.
what's on here?
Yep.
Okay, what's on here says Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and an unprotected first-round pick from Brooklyn. That's what we agreed to. Hold on. I want more. Nope. You're going to give me something or I'm going to nullify the deal. Okay, we'll give you a 2020 second-round pick. Okay. I just wanted you to let you know that you're going to give me something. You weren't going to get it without it. And they got it. A 2020 second-round pick.
So did Bron tell you last night he's ecstatic over this 2020 second-rounder?
Yeah.
He did? Okay, so will he post a video today? He's working out and he's screaming into the camera, I'm getting ready for you, 2020 second rounder? Is that what he's going to do? Yep, I'm getting ready. 2020 second rounder? You should be ashamed.
For what?
Come on, really? So let's get this straight.
Okay.
Bottom line, for next year, as LeBron enters his 15th NBA season.
Still kicking.
15th.
Still kicking.
Playing 50,000 plus minutes. Man, that's a lot of minutes.
I believe he got another 25,000 in him.
Wow, those are some tires he's got on that body.
Good year.
Good year. So in return for Kyrie Irving, a top 5 player in this NBA.
He's not a top 5
He's
player.
a top 5. You would have said it last year, but you won't.
No,
say it
no,
now.
no, no, no,
Yes, you
Skip.
would.
No, he's not a top 5.
So he got back a 5'9" defensive liability of a ball-hogging point guard with a serious hip injury. We're not sure about the outcome of it, but he's not going to be ready for camp and probably won't be ready for the start of the season.
Okay.
And on top of that, you did get a nice player in Jay Crowder, who's never made an all-star team or an all-defensive team and will never make all-star or all-defense. You know it, and I know it.
He might make all-defense. He might be one of those
He will
first
not.
second team.
He will not make second-team all-defense. He's just a nice player, but he's not a game changer. He's not a franchise changer. And they got, I think they got a lot worse than they were last year. Because Kyrie Irving, he's a bad man.
First of all, Skip, if you poll the general managers, it's hard for me to believe that Kyrie Irving will be a top 3 point guard. They're going to take Steph. They're going to take Russ. They're going to take James Harden, probably. They're probably going to take John Wall. That's just at the point guard position.
How about just as a basketball player?
Okay, I'm going to take LeBron. I'm going to take KD. I'm going to take Kawhi. I'm going to take Anthony Davis. I'm going to take Steph Curry. I'm going to take Russell Westbrook. Do you want me to keep going or you want me to stop?
I told you I would take Kyrie over Russell Westbrook. And again, I told you before the year started last year he's going to average a triple-double, and you laughed at me, and he did. But I'll still take Kyrie. He is as clutch as they come. Russell got clutch last year. He was pretty good down the stretch. But this man is unstoppable.
Except Game 3 when he missed all 7 of his 3-point shots. But go
except
ahead.
Game 3 when LeBron James hogged the ball at the end of the game for the last 5 possessions. He tried to do something and did nothing. And coughed up a 4-point lead with 1.5 minutes left in his house. Shameful.
Or the first 2 games, Game 1 and 2.
You know what? LeBron should have fallen out of the top 5 just for that game. Just for that finish.
I mean, when Kyrie couldn't throw it in the ocean, sitting in a boat in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
But that's not me. Skip, that's none of my business.
What did Kyrie shoot for the finals? He shot 42% from 3.
What did Bron shoot?
Yeah. Well, going into last year's playoffs, he had the all-time worst 3-point shooting in the history of the NBA playoffs. All-time worst?
Okay, but you say playoff.
Lord have
let me ask
mercy.
you a question. Who has a better overall 3-point percentage in the regular season, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
LeBron James. Are you suggesting that LeBron's better than Michael Jordan?
Yeah, see,
What does that mean?
Why can't I ask you one question?
Nobody cared about the 3-point shot when Michael was shooting it. Nobody cared until Michael made it a thing against Portland that night when he's doing this because he just kept making it.
You remember when you was in school? When you were in school?
Yeah.
And probably when the teacher give you a test and she said, don't jump around. You start with 1, 2, and go down like that. I ask you one. Why you got to go to question 15?
Because 15 was the hardest question, so I said, I'm going to do the hard one.
Well, how you know? You bypassed 2, 3, and 4.
They're too easy. Come on.
Who had a better 3-point field goal percentage? LeBron James or Kobe Bryant in the regular season?
You telling me that LeBron's better than Kobe?
There you go. Now you're on question 20. We just said 2. Why you won't answer my question?
I don't know. What'd your researcher look up? What did he find?
Tell
me what your researcher said.
My research is on his honeymoon.
He is?
No, he was. He back now.
He was.
He back now. Don't worry. Why you always trying to front my man Steve out? Steve, good piece.
Steve Owens, he's still doing it, right?
Yeah, not the one with the Heisman.
He won a Heisman, but now he's trying to win you a Heisman, and he's failing.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
Oh yeah. When we win this Emmy, Steve and I, this was for Steve.
Well, you know what? The truer words would never have been spoken. You could say this is for my puppet master, Steve.
No, hey.
Right?
Skip. Steve and I have a great working relationship. We bounce things off each other. I mean, there have been times he's like, well, Shannon, I think, to soften it a little bit, say it like this. I'm like, okay, Steve, you're right, because he's my eyes and ears. You know what I'm saying?
And so he gives you all the ammo. Here, fight him with this, fight him with that. Fight him with this and fight him with that. Because we know we're losing, but it's okay.
We're a team. You like race car. You like NASCAR. Okay, you got a spotter. You got a crew chief.
Yep.
I mean, you think I'm just doing all this? I'm driving the car. I'm getting all the credit.
You're actually drafting off Steve Owens. That's what you're doing.
But, Larry McReynolds, I mean, he was a great crew chief. Ray Everham, you know him?
I do.
He was the crew chief.
I do. I worked with him.
Yeah, it's too bad you couldn't be a race car driver, Shannon.
I can drive.
Not as fast as me.
I'm going the speed limit. I ain't trying to get
no comment.
I'm not trying to get no ticket at no 3:30 in the morning.
You're not getting a ticket. No mercy. UFC President Dana White revealed the final pay-per-view sales for the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Dana says there were 6.5 million buys for the fight, which shatters the previous record by about 1 million buys. The old record was held by the 2015 Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Shannon, what does this tell you?
It tells you why this fight happened to begin with, Skip. And I always felt this fight could happen. I always felt that this fight was somewhere between 5 and 6 million buys. Now, it was reported that almost 3 million illegal download streams were also viewed. So if they're always going to be some pirate. Let's just say half that number had to buy this fight. So now we're at 8 million. I always felt this was somewhere between a $600 and $1 billion fight. That's what Floyd fought. And I told you, this is the only reason he came out of retirement, Skip. If there's a chance I can fight a heavy bag, 170-pound heavy bag, and make $300 million for 30 minutes, sign me up. There's a reason why Fred Astaire chose Ginger Rodgers. She was the perfect dance partner. She was the only one that could do it dancing backwards in those heels. I don't know, did he have red bottom back then?
You know what, that's a good analogy because Conor McGregor was Ginger Rodgers. I mean, he held up his end of the bargain.
But you know,
she could flat out, she was actually carrying that duo.
Yeah, but you notice Ginger was doing everything Fred was doing backwards. Hey, and that's what Conor was doing, trying to fight going backwards. And Floyd studied. Floyd was Fred Astaire. Bap, bap.
How old are you?
Don't worry about all that. This was the perfect storm, Skip. When you say the perfect storm, this was the perfect storm because you got a generational fighter and you got a UFC, the most popular fight. He might be the most popular UFC fighter ever. So you get those coming together. Now, a lot of those fans want to see, can Conor really box? I'm going to watch him because he has a fan following. They're going to follow him wherever he goes. Skip, he can go try for football. And you're going to have a big influx of Irish people going to the stadium with those flags waving and chanting like it's a soccer game. And then you got that old Floyd, old money, the generational fighter, 49-0, which I told you would be 50-0. 49-1 didn't sound good to me, Skip. And then you got the people that were tuning in, not to see Floyd fight, but to hope he lose. All those, it's going to be a farce. I wouldn't watch that thing if it was free. Lying. Because if you had 6.5 million buys, Skip, they showed it in movie theaters. So you might have had, ain't no telling how many people actually watched it.
Yeah.
They had it in bars. So, Skip, this fight had to happen. Even as Dana White told us around Thanksgiving when Conor fought in New York, nah, I don't see how this fight happened. Even in February, I got a better chance of being back up for the Patriots at the Super Bowl. I did see him on the sideline holding his helmet because I knew this fight was going to happen. For $700 million, $800 million, Skip, nobody's turning that down. And Floyd got ahead and picked up that check, took care of the IRS. IRS need to stay out of our business and stop putting our information out on the street. Now,
You're calling out the IRS now?
I'm calling it the I, the R, and the S. Don't make me and Floyd have to come see you. Keep our business out these papers.
Just to be clear, that's Shannon Sharpe.
That's Shannon Sharpe.
Shannon Sharpe saying that, IRS?
And
I paid extra.
Joy Taylor, Skip Bayless staying out of this?
Well, we are out of this because
I paid extra.
you may have just called out the AUDIT, right? Audit. That's what might happen to Shannon Sharpe. Oh, we think we're going to audit you, Mr. Sharpe.
I paid a little extra, Skip. Just to make. I always pay extra.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
Send me a little something back because they ain't taking nothing of mine.
Yep. So what's our guesstimate? How many eyeballs were there actually? I don't want to do it times two. How many people actually watched this fight? What's our guesstimate
I believe
here?
more than watched the Super Bowl.
Okay, more than watched the Super Bowl. Were any of those millions and millions of people disappointed in this fight?
I believe not.
None. Have you seen a hint of anybody say, I was duped, I was fooled, I was taken advantage, I want my money back? Does anybody want their money back?
Does De La Hoya count?
Nobody does.
Does Oscar De La Hoya count?
Not Oscar. You know what? I think Oscar was highly entertained by this fight. Will this fight be more entertaining than Triple G versus Canelo? Who knows, but just on sheer personality magnitude, matchup of the MMA guy from Ireland versus the undefeated Floyd Mayweather Jr. from the United States of America, a black man and a white man. You can't do much better than this.
Nope.
right? Subplots everywhere.
Yep.
Two huge personalities.
Yep.
The build-up to this fight was spectacular. I don't care what anybody says. I know it went over the edge and over the line many times, but it worked because it entertained everybody. Is it not just entertainment in the end? We want sports. This is hardcore sports because I have never been more fascinated by a matchup because I thought Conor could box a little. You thought he could box none. A lot of boxing experts said he will not even be able to lay a glove on Floyd Mayweather Jr., the greatest defensive fighter ever, and he laid 111 gloves on him.
And not a mark on his body.
Not a mark on his body, but he took some punishment. So the boxing media, trying to defend the faith and defend its sport, was completely out of touch and out of step with the buying public. Am I right? Because the public was all over this fight, and the public was highly entertained because it was pretty competitive. In fact, it was extremely competitive, and in the end, we had two shocking plot twists in the 9th round, not in the 2nd round or the 3rd round, in the 9th round. Or I'm going to say it one more time. Early in the 9th round, Floyd Mayweather is in trouble in the corner.
Low blow.
And the Showtime announcers both go in almost in unison. That hurt Mayweather.
Yeah.
Then
Hit
Al
him in his
Bernstein,
private.
that hurt Mayweather. No, it's talking about the straight left that caught him right in the jaw. And I'm yelling at home for the first time ever, finish him. And Robert Byrd, the referee, steps in and says, nope, nope, break it up. And he pulls Conor off Floyd and pulls him to the middle of the ring, stops down. Floyd gets to shake it off and reset. And Conor's trying to swing over the top of Robert Byrd, who hasn't even said fight yet. And guess what happened? We had the second shocking plot twist because we had hit that magic moment, that mark, that measuring stick for a UFC fighter, which was 25 minutes on the dot. Longest Conor had ever fought. And in his Instagram post, was it last night? Or he said, I didn't have time to prepare for the endurance it took to go 12 rounds. I just didn't have enough camp. And he went into detail about we'd try to go 12, but we'd have to slack off in the last 4 or 5 rounds because he just couldn't do it. He'd never done it in his life.
So he never
because it is hard, man. Okay, so again, it wasn't that Floyd started hitting Conor. It was that Conor got hit by the wall. He hit the wall, and he was done. He took his best shot in the corner. He took his best shot all through the 8th round, which he won. And then all of a sudden, he hit the wall. So you have 2 shocking plot twists right before your very eyes. This is wildly entertaining stuff. This isn't a reality show. This is unscripted, crazy, unpredictable sports right before your very eyes. Floyd's in trouble. The ref says low blow, and Al Bernstein screams on the Showtime, that wasn't a low blow because it wasn't a low blow. So whatever, it stopped what could have been a disaster for Floyd in the corner, and it opened the door for Floyd to win with a flourish. And all of a sudden, it just flipped the script. And was this not entertaining? Was it not fun to watch?
And this fight only happened because the fans wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
Skip, Conor and Floyd could have talked all they want to, but the fans started clamoring. They wanted it. And the 6.5 million buys said that they wanted it.
Yep.
Now, Skip, the thing I think that worked for these guys in their favor is that there was not the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd fight. It took too long. It was 4 years too late. This was basically 8 weeks, Skip. It was announced to like the beginning of June, at the end of June. They started the press tour, and the next thing you know, they're fighting. And that's what it was. It wasn't this long, exaggerated build-up where they're going to fight in 2018, they're going to fight in 2019. No. They're going to fight in about 8 weeks.
Great.
And so,
I thought it was too short. I told you on the show right here. I said, boy, that's a quick turnaround.
No, you wanted Floyd to try to be fighting at 41. It was a low blow. Now Floyd can't even have kids now. I'm glad he already got that out the way.
He hit him in the side.
He hit him
with a right hand.
He hit him in the side, all right. The side of something
absurd.
else. Man had to go get surgery.
Way to go, Robert Dirty Bird. You saved the day for Floyd. It's okay. It's okay. But the point is, were you not entertained? Yeah. Would I buy a rematch? You better believe I'd pay $150 for a rematch. I'd pay $200 for a rematch. Now, Floyd would be a fool to take a rematch because he got his money, but that same money, or close to, will be on the table for a rematch if you so desire. But you are risking 50 and 1.
That's
what you're risking.
You would pay $1,000 because you, like a lot of other people, want to see somebody. Hey, Skip, 50 men have come to the ring trying to hand Floyd Mayweather that first.
I agree, but let me ask you this: Who got the best out of Floyd Mayweather? Who turned him into the most entertaining fighter in all of his fights?
I mean, because...
it was Conor McGregor.
The Cotto fight was good, the Castillo fight.
You know what? I watched all of them, but there would be long moments of those fights where Floyd's the greatest defensive fighter ever. It's a lot of shoulder rolls,
What about the first 3 rounds when he threw 9 punches? Were you entertained then?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Conor McGregor was kicking his little butt.
He
was.
Floyd was like this, he was sitting on the rope, Floyd was like sitting on the rope. That's all you got?
Was he?
That's all you got?
I don't think he was doing that. I didn't see that.
Now, you and Dana White told me Conor McGregor is a knockout artist, a KO guy.
Yeah, what did I tell you? Floyd took his best shots, and I told you, Floyd's got not a good chin, he's got an all-time great chin. I mean, but he had one against Cotto, he had one against Sugar Shane Mosley. Did he not take some shots? Floyd's got guts.
You know, ghost chilies are hot. You know, Tabasco came out with a scorpion sauce. I got you a bottle too. But anyway, I got it coming, Skip. Got it coming.
You don't even like spicy food.
I don't, but I got it for you. I'm gonna see if you. And Skip
I don't like spicy foods, but I'll give it to my brother.
No,
I don't know. He likes spicy foods. He makes spicy foods.
Conor McGregor hit Floyd Mayweather with a ghost chili. 1 million on the Scoville. That's how they measure chili.
Yep.
The hotness of it. Hit it, Floyd. Floyd's like, Conor, did you just hit me? Did you just hit me? He's like, yeah, mate. I got something for you. And he later on.
Was he Australian now?
Yeah, he said, yeah. You messed with the wrong one. See, I'm glad. Conor, I'm so glad that you chose this little bitty man with a little hand, a little torso.
That uppercut come from down under?
Came from Joy. Oh, my goodness. I was like, oh, Floyd, there's no way Floyd's going to stand with this. This uppercut, I saw it coming. I was like,
Did you?
Floyd, just a little to the left.
Hit him flush, though.
Hit him flush. And what Floyd do?
Did he?
Harlem Nights.
Really?
Oh, you shot me in the pinky toe. Did Della Reed told me he was Stella?
You got to work on your accents.
When Stella told me, she told him.
So here's the bottom line. If, hypothetically, Conor McGregor got in 12-round endurance shape and he figured out how to match the shocking strategic change that Floyd had to deploy about in the 4th round, 5th round, which was to just charge like a baby bull right through Conor's guard and get up into his chest. Yeah. If he figured out how to defeat that, how to deal with that, Conor McGregor would win the rematch because Floyd would be 41 years of age. But Floyd is not foolish enough to subject himself to this.
We were worth $300 million going into the fight. Now, we made like $325. We cut ours, their money from what we owed them last time. Give them another $100 million. We're going to be worth $150. So 150 and 300 is 450. So Skip, while we in the work, we done with it.
So bottom line, Floyd won the fight and Conor McGregor won the night, and they both walked away filthy rich with money because they shocked the world with one of the, I guess it's the most profitable sports event ever for two guys, right? I mean, two guys have never made more money from
but here's the thing, though, Skip. What does Conor do moving forward? Now, he could he only has one big payday coming. That's Nate Diaz trilogy.
That'll work.
Do you want to be the big dog in UFC and make $3 million guaranteed and maybe can make $10 million? Or do you want to go and cross over? Because for at least another fight or two, you can pull probably $30 million.
You probably could.
So that's
you better pick your opponent. Because I told you going in, I like this matchup for Conor because Floyd was 40 and a half years of age and it showed. No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Join us at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.